Hello and welcome back to the Trademark Sports YouTube channel. Exciting stuff is happening. The Origin teams have been announced and we're going to go through my thoughts for the Blues Origin team. Madge is cooking up something pretty special here, I think. But yeah, basically what I'm most excited about is the fact he's picked a team. He hasn't picked something that's going to just like replicate Queensland's tactics and try and beat them in their own game. He's picked something that's like his team, his attitude, his way of playing, and he's got to like bring in a New South Wales identity to this Blues squad. So if you're excited for the Origin, as I am, make sure you drop a thumbs up for this video, subscribe to the channel, and comment who you're most excited to see in this Blues team. Let's honestly get straight into it. So this is going to be my reaction to the Blues team and what I think about every single selection here. So obviously at the back we have Dylan Edwards making his State of Origin debut, coming in for the incumbent fullback and the New South Wales captain of previous years, James Tedesco. So first of all, I think Dylan Edwards is a great pick. I think he thoroughly deserves it. He's been sensational over the last 4 seasons, pretty much. Like, he was very underrated for a long time. He's starting to get his flowers, which is awesome. I'm really excited to see how he goes and translates his game to the Origin arena. I think the time was right to move on from James Tedesco with like the new coach, new systems and stuff. Just bring in like a sort of an excuse in a way to move on from James Tedesco in that era. But looking at it, he's won 3 comps in a row, obviously, but he's been a very integral part of that. Won a Clive Churchill medal. Like, he has shown that he can perform on the big stage, so I'm really excited to see how he goes there. All right. On the wing, Brian Toto, obvious selection, best winger in the comp, again, like Edwards, won 3 comps in a row. He's won Origins, he's done it at Origin level as well, so Brian Toto for me was an absolute shoo-in. If he wasn't getting selected, I probably would have sacked Madge on the spot. Then in the centre, Stephen Crichton, I think for me, like, he was getting picked no matter what. Like, he was in, even with all his injuries and stuff, he was certainly getting picked for me in this squad. I think he's a more mature player since leaving to go to the Bulldogs. I think we've seen that as well, like, having that leadership role might have, like, when he first got it, I was a bit, like, iffy, ahhing about whether that was the best decision for the Bulldogs to make, but I think he's been fantastic as the club captain there. He's just getting better with age. Like, we got to think, this guy's still only 23. He's played a fair few State of Origin games already, and like, looking at it, I think he gets better and better the more games he plays. Like, he's already played 100-something games at 23 years of age. He's getting experience. He knows how to win. He knows what it requires. And I think just he's now at that stage where the Origin arena is his to dominate, his to take over. He knows what to expect in the Origin, and he knows what he's in for. So I think he's going to be better prepared for it this time around. The other centre, though, very interesting pick for me. Probably would have liked a bloke, maybe like a Matt Burton in the centres, to be honest. I think Joseph Swaliti has been great. And he's just, again, he's a superstar talent. Probably, like, we haven't seen him play in any massive games just yet. But, like, just for me, I think I prefer him as a winger as opposed to a centre. Just given his skill set. But obviously he is getting better and better. The older he gets. Just looking at his stats here, they are very similar, like centre compared to playing wing. He's only played 2 games on the wing this year. Scored 1 try, but he's also scored a try in centre. The tactics, obviously, from Madge, they've got a lot of tall timber in the outside backs. Try and get one up over Queensland there, because they've obviously got some big outside backs as well. It's going to be like a lot of aerial threat, a big attacking. That's going to be probably, I feel like they're looking for that in terms of their their tactics. I'm actually going to quickly just check what Stephen Crichton's average meters are this year per game, because I'm looking at it as like a guy like Suwali. So his average meters so far this year are 135. So that sort of throws that my plan out. I was going to say, I feel like everyone's sort of in and around that 200 meters a game mark, but even still, 130 for a centre is pretty good. Stephen Crichton has been averaging so far this season. He has been averaging, just 1 second, we'll get there when the NRL.com website allows me to, 122 metres, which is about his career average really overall. So the only years he's averaged more than that was when he was playing on the wing. So I think like that's sort of fair enough for like looking at that moving forward. Okay, so the other wing spot is Zach Lomax. Now, as a Dragons fan, I fully condone and endorse this decision to have Zach Lomax in the squad. I did think, however, that at the start of the year, his form was like so good. Like, he started the year unbelievable. First round, he ran 265 meters, and I was like, hang on, what's going on here? Who is Zach Lomax? Like, this is fantastic. I think his Form has sort of dipped a little bit. Just looking at his numbers, the last 2 weeks have bumped up to around that 200 meter mark. But before that, there's like a couple of sub 150. There's three games he's played this year. He's had less than 150 meters running with the ball, which you definitely want to see that improve in the Origin Arena, because he is going to be there for his yardage carries. This haven't seemed as effective the last month or so, but I think in the Origin Arena, he's definitely going to stand up. Like, he's a guy that his whole life, his whole career, he's been touted as going to be like an Origin player, Origin star. So now is his chance to show that he deserves to be there, and I think he will definitely play probably the best game of his career, hopefully for the Blues and for Zach Lomax. And then the halves, Jerome Luai. Injuries probably do help this one out a little bit. Like, I don't think he would have been Madge's first choice. However, to be honest, since Cleary's hasn't been there, he's been fantastic. And I think he shows that he can play 7, which will be good to take the pressure off Hines a little bit if need be. He's been in the Origin Arena before. He's won 3 comps. He's won a State of Origin series. He knows what it takes to win. And that's the best thing that I can say about Jerome Luai. Like, obviously, a lot of people don't like the selection. Wasn't my first choice, but he's there. I'm going to back him. And then we've got Nico Hines. He's under an injury cloud, but I think if he does play, he's just going to be ready physically and mentally. Like, this could be his redemption arc. This could be the start of him really like certifying his name as one of the better halves we've seen ever. If he can go on and play Origin and kill it for the next 4 or 5 years. Because at the moment, he's a really, really good player, but sort of known as the guy that can't take that next step. So this is his chance, potentially, well, I mean, it's his second chance, but potentially his last chance to show that he can do that. But I do think, like, he probably was taken off as precaution on Saturday night. Like, they were getting pumped by the Panthers. So I think if you have a look at, like, from that point of view, come off with a head knock, past his HIA, but Madge was there. He might have gone down to the sheds and said, listen, mate, like, I want you in Origin. You're getting pumped. Just sit it out. And then, like, as well as that, we did see in this Panthers game, they put a lot of pressure on him, and he sort of crumbled a little bit. So I hope he can put that out of his mind and just go out there and just enjoy it and play footy. Okay, moving on to the 4-pack. First off, we have Jake Jabojevic. Great choice for captain. He seriously bleeds blue and would die for the jersey. I know he's one of those guys that his impact doesn't seem like it's that much when you're watching the game. But again, I feel like that's a compliment to Jake Jabojevic and how he plays the game, because he just goes about his work, really puts in 110% every single week. And like, I love to see him in Origin, and I really hope he does well as the Blues captain. Now, number 9, Reece Robson. It's interesting that they haven't gone with Api Coruscant. I think a lot of people don't really like that decision, but again, I'm just going to back whatever Madge does, especially in this first series. And here's the thing. I thought Reece Robson was great in Origin last year. At the start of last year, I tipped him to be a bit of a smoky. I thought that he was young, playing good footy, that he'd sort of keep going on that path and be an Origin player. However, Cowboys weren't great last year. Reece Robson wasn't great last year, and he still got picked for Origin, and he killed it. So I think that he's been in better club form this year, playing better footy. I reckon he'll be even better at Origin, and he could go 80 as well. So I really like this selection, to be honest. Like, it's just, yeah. Tactically, with your substitutions, good pick. Payne Haas, again, similar ilk to Brian Toto. Like, it's just the obvious pick. Like, he's the best in his position in the whole world. He has to be one of the first names on the team sheet for Origin. You know what you're going to get from him. He's going to, like, just come there and just stop the Queensland barrage and give him a bit back as well. So I'm excited once again to see Payne Haas kill it in Origin. And then we have the second rowers, Liam Martin. I'm really glad that he's starting. A lot of people had him on a bench, like bench role. Liam Martin's the kind of bloke that you can put out there for 80 and he's just going to bust his ass for the jersey. Like, he's just an Origin, like, little terrier. Like, he's just going to go all day. Plenty of impact on an edge, really good defensively, great with the ball. I would hate to play against him, especially in the Origin arena. Then we have Angus Crichton. He's probably the competition's most informed second rower. Excited to see what we can do on the Origin field. And he's left side second row too, so that left-right balance. But yeah, I think Angus Crichton, man, like, it was too good to ignore. I didn't have him in my team for a long time, but like, after you start watching some more Roosters games, you go, yeah, okay, I get it. Angus Crichton has to be there, and I'm glad Madge has seen that. Number 13, I love this pick. Cameron McInnes. It's dead set about time that this bloke got his flowers and will play Origin. He's got everything. Like, he will just do everything he possibly can do for that Blues jersey. Like, if you leave him out there for 80, he's going to come off the field with at least 60 tackles. Like, he's just going to put his head where most people wouldn't put their feet. As you can see from just the amount of damage he's done to his face throughout his NRL career. But the thing is as well, like, people are sort of questioning the versatility of this squad. But he can cover 9 too if Robson does need a break. Like, we've got a very big bench, which we'll get into in a second. And I think that's fine because you've got Cameron McInnes that can go into 9 and deputise there if need be. I do think Robson is picked to play 80, but if need be, Cameron McInnes will do a job at 9. It's probably honestly going to be more of a rest for him playing 9. That's how hard that bloke works. Onto the bench, Isaiah Yeo. Got to be honest, when Cameron Murray went down injured, I was like, no, that means we're going to be playing Isaiah Yeo at 13 again. We've seen what happens. He just very, very small, very slow, very predictable, and it just hasn't worked in Origin level just as of yet. But I think he'll be played as a middle. I think he's going to be played like as a front rower. Played front row in Game 3 last year, and it was his best performance in Origin by a long way. Simplified role, be more effective. He could just run hard, tackle hard, and like sort of put the ball playing to other people. If there's a tip on that's on, then do it. But I think if it's just his primary role is just make as many tackles as you can and make as many meters as you can, and just bleed for that jersey, then I think Isaiah Yeo will be one of the best on ground. Now, Hale Olakau'atu, debut, certainly earned his spot this season. I'd love to see him, like, the way I'd like to see him and the next guy used for their role is just for 25-30 minutes in the middle of the game, like for 10-15 minutes on either side of half time, like, just go out there and go ballistic. Like, literally just put as many shots on as you can, taking as many carries as you can. Like, just say you have a maximum of 30 minutes out in that field. Try and get through 80 minutes worth of work in that 30 minutes and just go out there with a really simple role. Just cause chaos for the Queensland team. Like, that's sort of where they've got us the last few years, is that bench rotation. They come on and they just like punch us through the middle, and I think Olakau'atu can definitely give it to them and turn the tide in that sense. They're really excited to see how he plays. I'd like to see him just a big body in the middle. And then Spencer Leniu, similar to Olakau'atu, as I said, like I don't want any more than half an hour out of Spencer Leniu. I just want like pure impact, leg speed through the middle, a bit of grunt, and just give it to Queensland. I think for the one concern I have with Spencer Leniu, I think he's played like 3 or 4 club games so far this year. I think he might just be a little bit underdone in terms of match fitness. But in saying that, because he hasn't been injured, he would have been getting flogged at training. And I know that like when there's players who are like sort of in the squad or whatever for NRL games but don't get picked, then they've got to do like fitness after the game. And I imagine that Spencer Leniu's doing that kind of fitness, like just to keep themselves up and conditioned. Like with the rest of the squad, I feel like Spencer Leniu would have just been getting worked like an absolute dog, to be honest. So I think he will be fresh, and he was a guy that I tipped to make his Origin debut at the start of the year. I thought that he's like sort of primed and ready for that, and I just love to see him come out there just with the impact in the middle and just absolutely give it to him. And then 17 is Hudson Young. Surprising pick, to be honest. Like, I think in his previous Origin appearance, like, he showed that he certainly's got a lot of passion. And if he can keep his head on, he could be very destructive in Origin. Not sure, like, I suppose, like, he's that cover for the edge. Like, I feel like those first 3 guys can be used as middles. So my thoughts for the bench, like, it's big, powerful, and tough. The only issue is being able to cover injuries. However, I think, like, if you're going into that planning for there's going to be an injury, you're one step behind the 8 ball to begin with. Like, Queensland won a game last year with Ben Hunt and someone else, like, that doesn't play centre in the centres. Like, it's not an excuse, I don't think. Like, you're playing Origin football, you get put somewhere, you do your best job. Looking through the extended squad, Matt Burton, super unlucky not to make this side. I would have liked to see him in the centres, to be honest, like where Suoli'i is. I thought when Suoli'i was picked that he'd be on the wing and Burton would be in the centre. Even potentially would have liked to see him at 6 over Jerome Luai. But I have a feeling that if Nico Hines is out, that Burton will come in as 6 and Luai will play as 7. Alright, rest of the squad. Luke Keary, to be honest, I hate this selection, like, genuinely hate it. Yes, he's been playing good football, but he's Ipswich born, and the one game he played for the Blues, he was Queensland's best player out there. It looked like he could not give 2 shits about the Blues and about Origin for this state, that sort of thing, and it's just like, just turned me off him in terms of a state of Origin player. Like, nah. And that's the thing, that what they're talking about is if the Hines is out, Keary's in, and really, really dislike it. And then Mitch Barnett, probably unlucky not to get picked in the side over a guy like Lenu, just due to the amount of good footy he's played, the amount of minutes as well. I think he's got the perfect amount of Origin in him as well. So I feel like for Mitch Barnett, he could be one of those guys that's sort of picked in the squad to learn and gather, like just use it as a learning experience for if he's required later on in this series. Just a few comments about the Blues team. I love the fact that we're getting out to the Blue Mountains. No distractions, less media, 10 boys for the days. Just literally just get to know each other and love each other and then work for each other. I feel like getting out there just in the crisp Blue Mountains air with nothing around, no distractions, no phones would probably be unreal as well. Literally just get them in a room and just get them so tightly knit that they will literally do anything for each other. And as well, if you look through the team, it is very Western Sydney heavy. In terms of where the players grew up and where they're from. And I feel like that could be a bit of an angle for Madge Maguire just to lean into, especially with these players, and just say that being here in New South Wales gave them the opportunity to get out of that. And that's what they're playing for. They're playing for the opportunity, their families, the opportunity that their families were given, the sacrifices that those people did for them. And then you could give examples to these players who, there's question marks about their buy-in previously as they've played for their heritage, for Samoa and Tonga. But a guy like Olakau'atu on his debut, I know that I think last year he bought a house for his family, and you can just say it's without the opportunity that living in New South Wales gave you to play rugby league, you wouldn't be able to get your family out of that. And the same with Stephen Crichton and Brian Toto, who I know have done that for their families. Jerome Luai as well. That's the way I feel like you can get these guys to really, really buy in. That's my thoughts about this year's New South Wales Blues team. Really, really excited about the fact that we're getting a new identity. We're building towards we've got our own tactics. The only way we're going to play our game, a way we're going to beat Queensland, not with their tactics. Queensland are the best of what they do. We're going to be the best of what we do. And it's going to be a battle of more about state versus state rather than just Queensland versus what Queensland do. I really am excited for this new Madge era. A lot of new players, 6 debutants, actually quite excites me. It is a lot of Origin inexperience, but I think we should be fine. Let me know how you think the Blues go in this year's State of Origin, if you're excited for it. Who you think should have been picked. Who you think was the biggest New South Wales snub. It's probably Api Coruscant, to be honest, but hey, let's go the Blues.